So we've had trauma, we've had friendship being tested. What's the next issue we're going to go through? Hey everyone, welcome to Princess of Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we're here with my blind reaction to episode 4? Yeah, episode 4 of season 2 of Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur. So, yeah, last time we had Casey and Lunella's friendship being tested. Like, there was never any real danger of it being broken. But they had a fight. They had an argument. There was a lot of stresses, a lot of issues. Both of them were in the wrong. And in the end, both did apologize and make it right. And I like that. I'm so happy it didn't try to only paint one of them as being in the wrong. Because I could have very easily seen it, like, try to, like, excuse Casey's actions or whatnot. But no, she was in the wrong and she needed to have that acknowledged. And it was. So, cool. But we continue on, and as usual, I don't know really anything about where this is going. So, I haven't really seen too many people talking about this, and this was an issue with season 1 as well. People just aren't, like, as active within this show's fandom. I'm not saying that there aren't fans. There definitely are. But the fandom isn't as active as stuff like Owl House or Amphibia or fucking Hazbin Hotel with, you know, all the spoilers I had to avoid with that. But instead with this, it's just like you occasionally see some casual fans talking about it. That's it. But I know people are into it. I very much do. It's just, again, it doesn't get a lot of, like, vocal attention in that way. Which really sucks, because I think it's right up there with the likes of Owl House and all of this other stuff. Owl House, Amphibia, Ghost of Molly McGee, which also was criminally underrated. But these shows just aren't getting the same kind of attention, and that's really disappointing. Like, this show even has the queer representation that Ghost of Molly McGee unfortunately wasn't able to get in as much. But, like, Owl House has that. Amphibia, unfortunately, didn't have enough of that, but it had some subtle stuff. And everybody loved, like, Owl House for that kind of thing. And it's like, okay, this show has that. Why aren't we talking about that? This show has amazing morals and themes and ideas. And it's just not getting the same amount of attention. I don't know if it's a marketing thing. Like, there's just not good marketing for this series. Or if it's something else, I don't know. But it really sucks. Because, again, this is right up there with those in terms of quality. And depending on where it goes, it could even surpass it. I know that's hard to believe because of how amazing Owl House and Amphibia were and how great Ghost of Molly McGee even was. But this is right up there with those. It really is. The writing is consistently fantastic. The characters are so well crafted. The creativity, the fun connections to Marvel, it's just like, there's so much to love here, and it just doesn't get the same amount of attention. And it sucks. But hopefully, we'll get a bit more. I think part of the issue, at least with this season 2, is the fact that it is, like, being released in the way it is. Like, 14 episodes just dropped onto Disney Plus right away. It's like, the fuck? It's like, most people probably binge through all of that, and it's like, they're not watching week by week, so it's like, of course you don't have the weekly discourse. Because no one's retaining it. I'm not going to get into this entire argument, this entire debate again. But it's like, I think it really is hurting this show's popularity by dropping season 2 in this way, which unfortunately Disney might be trying to do. I wouldn't put it past the studio. Nickelodeon, like, was actively trying to fuck over Legend of Korra just because it had a female main character. Like, sexism is alive and well. And granted, that was like a decade ago, but still. The point still stands. I would not put it past Disney to be doing that. To just be actively trying to fuck this show over because of the queer representation and mention of pronouns and, actually being a good series for modern kids to get into that'll actually teach them about important things. Disney doesn't want that. No. Sorry if I seem particularly sassy today. Um, I don't know if there's a specific reason for that, but I guess I am. Either way, we're gonna get on with this and hope for the best. I'm definitely interested to see where this continues to go this season. Like I kind of stated, seems to be focusing on some notable issues that these characters have had to work through. PTSD and obviously the friendship issues and stuff. I kind of hope that this season continues to take a focus on stuff like that. And it can be all kinds of various issues. But I think that would be a cool thing to explore with this season. See the characters going through stuff and how they work through it with the help of friends and family and just, the culture around them. I think that would be really fucking cool. It could also be really, like, sad and upsetting at times, but in a good way. In a way to where it's like, oh, this is making me feel my feelings, but it's also really well done. that would actually be a positive, an absolute positive. Even if sometimes I don't like to feel my own feelings, it's something that is always, like, good to do. Especially, it's just very cathartic after you get through it. It's like, oh, it feels like maybe bad in the moment, but once you get through it, it's like kind of a rush of dopamine almost. Anywho, so yeah, I don't know what to expect going forward, but that's kind of my biggest hope right now. We'll see. But if it goes in other routes, as long as it's still good, that's fine. Either way, let us get this started and hope for the best. So when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Excuse me. When the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after fades black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode. So, that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So I don't know how it is in other countries, but here in America, we have a bit of a problem. And the problem isn't as much with crime as it is with our response to crime. Because we in America, well, I'll just say it that way. It's mostly the government, but in America, our response to crime is just to lock them away, threaten them with, depending on if their crime's serious enough, death penalty, and depending on, what state you're in. Because some states, that's just not a thing. But the focus with the prison system here in America is on punishment rather than, actually trying to help figure out why these criminals are resorting to crime in the first place and helping them overcome that. Like we see in this episode. Unfortunately, that's just not really much of a thing. Like, there are some cases where there are prison reform programs that try to, reform criminals and help them make better lives of themselves. And a lot of times, of course, that is with criminals like thieves and whatnot, who a lot of times are doing it because they need to feed their families or they're, desperate. Um, we're not talking about like violent, like horrifically violent crimes here, like rape and murder. We're not talking about that kind of stuff. We're talking about like this kind of thing, like you see in this episode. So these criminals like this, we should be working to reform them to get them back on the streets and, working to make better lives of themselves for themselves. The problem is, as is noted in this episode, criminals a lot of times have this rap sheet that they carry for the rest of their lives. And a lot of employers will not hire people if their rap sheet is bad enough. And honestly, I kind of think that's unfair. Like, I understand being concerned about about the other employees and customers and stuff. That is fair. But to treat these people like less than human and to not give them the chance to better themselves, it's like you expect them to, okay, they're done with their sentences, to go back on the streets and, have a normal life. But if they can't get a job, how are they supposed to support themselves? A lot of them are going to return to crime, return to theft and stuff just to be able to survive. And if they do have families, it's even worse. How are they going to take care of their family? It's a really messed up system that especially affects communities of color. This is not lost on me that this storyline took place in a show that very much focuses on communities of color. That is not lost on me here because this problem disproportionately affects those who are black, who are Hispanic, who are, the children of immigrants and stuff. Basically, unless you're a white straight male, it can affect you. And that makes it even more fucked up in a lot of ways. Again, the systems in America just are so broken and so biased and bigoted. And it's unfair. Because I can guarantee you crime rates would drop a lot if we actually tried to reform rather than punish. If we actually put forth all this effort into reformation, it would do so many wonders. And we, of course, need to address the reason why these criminals are committing these crimes. Like, we need to address the systemic injustices within this country that cause these people to feel desperate enough to steal and rob banks and stuff. You think they're just doing this out of fun? No. It's really horrible, the situations people are put in that make them do this stuff. And then, they're just punished for that as if it's their fault. Like, yeah, it was their choice to engage in it, of course. But what else are they going to do? They need to survive. This series has obviously tackled serious issues like this in season 1. And this is the first one that they've really tackled in this season, because prior to this it's been more about PTSD and other stuff like that. This is the first big societal issue this season has tackled, and I think it did it really well. I really wish that it was as easy as Moon Girl's solution in this episode, though. Because we really need to give people second chances to make their lives better. And just give some time to understand them in the first place. We judge based on narrow-minded assumptions that we don't understand. And Lunella was no different here at first. But she learned and she adjusted and she changed her ways. She helped Zakiya out and she ended up getting her a job. A job in a field that she loves. So she could save up for culinary school, which is her dream. And I just want to say, Zakiya is an amazing character. She has so much depth and care put into her. Like, I feel like there was definitely some legitimate messages being told here, but also I feel like the writers and everything have maybe either gone through this kind of thing or at least really care about this topic, because it feels like just so much was put into it to make it feel as real and meaningful as possible. Zakiya's character is excessively likable. From pretty early on, you can tell that she's not a bad person. Like, you could tell the way she's acting seems off. And it just does not come across like she's a villain at all. So, you kind of start to put two and two together as things go on. Excuse me. And it really starts to come together and make sense because of that. I really think they nailed this episode. And I'm not even kidding you here, and it's not because she's buff, but I think Zakiya might be one of my favorite characters in this series right now. I just, really, it clicked with her as a character. And I've gone through some issues of my own in the past. I've talked about this on the channel, but I've even shoplifted and stuff before. And my issues and stuff came a lot from feelings of inadequacy compared to others around me. And I felt like I needed to have certain things to, feel better about myself. And I've luckily gotten past a lot of that, but I still very much feel inadequate in a lot of ways to this day. Those feelings have never fully gone away, and I don't know if they ever will. But I just have to work on bettering myself to understanding these feelings and finding more constructive ways to deal with them. That's the best I can hope for. Because I'll be honest, no one took the time to understand why I did that stuff back then, or how they could help me get past it. Believe me, I was confronted by cops, I was confronted by my parents, and they just, it went to punishment or threats of punishment. They never tried to understand or even ask me why I would do something like that. So I get it. I connect with this to a degree. And I think that's why it worked so well for me. But again, I'm white. And this very disproportionately affects people of color. Especially here in America. I can't speak for other countries, but it sucks. But at the same time, it's like getting this out there, making this kind of stuff known about is going to help. to some degree. And if we're unable to make any changes directly, that is the best thing that we can do to get this stuff known about, to talk about it, so that people who do have the ability to make changes can. And so this episode is really good. The soap opera stuff, the B plot, I guess you would call it, I could take it or leave it. I had no strong thoughts on it, really. But the A plot was just great. And not to mention, Kobe Smulders is back as Maria Hill. We get to see her in there again, so that's fun. Lot of references in this to other Marvel characters, such as Captain America and Thanos. Even the little, like, cartoony picture of Thanos' head was in there. This was just really good. From its messaging and theming to the humor to the, action, the music, of course, and Zakiya as a character. And again, it's not even because she's buff, though I'm not going to lie, that does help. But she is honestly probably one of my favorite characters of this series right now. Like, right up there with Casey and Lunella. It's just the way that she was written and handled in this episode made me so fucking sympathetic to her. I just cared so much about her and wanted the best for her. And to see that she got it in the end is amazing. Is great. Plus, yes, she's buff. I won't lie. That is a plus. Like I said, I'm very into buff women. It's definitely a type for me. I will not try to hide that. But again, her character is just so sympathetic and likable. I can't help it. I connect with characters who are like that, who are just like very wholesome and likable and sympathetic, and you get the gist. So yeah, this really did something good for me. And I hope it does a lot of good for everyone who watches it. And I hope that people take the messages and themes of this episode seriously. And learn that we need to work towards reforming criminals rather than just punishing them. That we learn how to try at least to fix the systemic issues that are causing all of this. We need to do our best to, fix things. Punishment isn't fixing anything. So, tell me what you thought in the comments below. Sorry if getting very serious here kind of like toned you out a little bit, I guess you could say. But the message and theme here was very important and yes, very serious. It was delivered in a cartoon meant for all ages and stuff, but still. It's an amazing message that I really am happy they tackled. And I'm happy with the way that they tackled it. So, like I said, tell me your thoughts down below. And for now, I'm Connie and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.